All right, hello and welcome back, everybody. This is David with Fairmere's Rangers. Yeah, that's right. We got some elephants. It's going to be time to do the elephants again. That's right. All right, we're doing this nation versus nation tournament. And I'm going to be playing as Maratha with my teammates. This is a 4v4 nation versus nation tournament. This one is Maratha. And we are going to be facing off against the Prussians. So I hope you're ready. This is going to be a knockdown, drag out fight. Both of these nations coming in with the record of 1-1. So only one of these nations is going to leave this match with a record that is winning. The other one will have a record that's losing. Obviously, one will be 2-1, one will be 1-1. You get the drift. Okay, let's get to it. The Prussian lining up over here looks like they are standing in defense. They are determined to let the Marathans attack them. Only the flank player is coming up and doing any setup. The player in the center is very much laying back. So we'll see how that goes. Over here in the center, it's the same story. The two center players are just laying back and relaxing in the hot sun. It's like a beach, except no water. Well, I guess there is water right there, but I mean, there's no ocean is what I'm trying to say. This is not beachfront property, okay? I think in these little oases, you'll probably only find cobras and that kind of stuff. So not the kind of stuff you're looking for. And of course, we got the spitting camels reeling in. Yeah, we got all kinds of good critters on this map. All right, so we've checked the box with elephants. We checked the box with camels. Let's see if we can get some zebras in this. No zebras. All right, so over here on the left flank, our Maratha player on this flank is going to be making a push, and it looks like both of these players on the left flank for Maratha are going to be teaming up together to push the right flank, as there is a choke point with that oasis over here at the top of the screen, and that should shield them off from this Prussian player in the center. That is, if they stand lackadaisical like that, but we'll see what happens as the Prussian line infantry gets a volley in here. Looking sweet, but those dark blues are assuredly hot on this map. There is no doubt about it. And look at all the Ottoman cav and melee infantry. See, they're dressed for this weather. They're dressed for it. That's why they have heat fatigue resistance. All right, so you can see there's quite a big gap in the center here for Maratha. And over here you can see I'm the player with the green around the flag, and I am making a strong push and establishing some covering fire, as the Ottomans do not, I mean, not the Ottomans, the Marathans do not have long-range rifles or light infantry. Their only unit that can shoot of a distance greater than 70 range is their camels. And there's only 45 of them. And they're pretty awkward, slow moving, easy targets, so not great. You can see here my bad boys are getting some shots in on these Prussians as they make their advance. My ally in the center is coming up with me. Over here you can see what I'm saying. The center Maratha player is cutting up in the center around this oasis. Now the Prussian over here can get some shots in with those Jaegers, and you can see he's doing that, but it's a long distance shot through the woods, so he's not really getting much damage out of that. As you can see, the Marathans aren't leaving behind trails of bodies there. All right, so over here, this is a pretty nice team playing over here. You got the one player laying down some suppressing fire against the Prussians, while the other player is going to be coming up with the melee and the cav. So The Prussian here has got their superior line spread out and getting some nice shots in. It's really actually a pretty smart move, using the platoon firing unit like this, spread out. It doesn't take as much damage, and you're able to go toe-to-toe with these Marathans, which are very spread. So really nice tactic by the Prussian player here on the flank. We'll see how it goes down. As you can see, he's doing quite a bit of damage to the Marathans here, but they got something in store for them as they're bringing all their melee infantry over. Over here again, you can see this massive gap. So the battle's taking place on either flank in this battle. As you can see here, it's a numbers game. There's going to be a game of attrition over here, and my ally is now bringing forward his melee infantry. I did not bring any. I brought all lines, so my tactic is basically to attrition down my opponent, as I have a very, very large army of all musket firing units. So I am just holding the line while my ally in the center makes his push. You can see here the Marathans getting into melee with the superior line and pushing through to the second row. But they are getting some volleys in on them as they push forward. Now I think that the mistake here was pushing into the Jaegers. The Jaegers aren't that important on this map. Now they're taking damage from that next row of lines. He should have smashed both of those melee troops into this Prussian line there. You can see here the Prussian player in the center is really not making any advances or shifting to help either ally. So very sedentary. He's only using a few units to help. It's not like he's not doing anything. He is helping. You can see over here in the in this jungle here, he's putting some assistance down. You can see the grenades going in. But you got a lot of other units that you should be able to get in the fight. And otherwise, I think Prussia would be doing quite a bit better at this point. But as it is, Maratha is able to make a push. Now, I will say that the Prussians, honestly, they got a huge advantage. Even though this is Maratha territory here, they just have such darn good units, such good morale. Facing off against Maratha, really out in the open ground like this, this is Prussia's. This is where they do best, but they got to do something. I know that they're holding up because Maratha's got all this cav here, and I guess they're concerned of what the cav is going to be doing. So that could be a factor. But I also feel that cav could be used to help run down the Prussians over here and mop up this section over here. Look at these guys. They're doing like the Irish jig over here or something. It's kind of unusual. I liked it. Maybe they were doing the river dance or something. But it looks like Prussia's actually doing fairly well after that initial push by Maratha. The player over here on the flank has really kind of set his anchor in the ground over there and has anchored in pretty well. Over here, we're getting a nice push against the center player here. And even though we're taking quite a bit of damage again, a lot of firepower here we're pushing into. A lot of firepower. As you can see, I lose another unit here. And I just plug in some more units because obviously I got an extremely large army. So we will just keep plugging and playing. Alright, so on this flank, not doing well. I'm about to lose another unit here. But now my ally is really starting to make some headway. I'm going to get a cav charge in here to help slow down some of these Prussian line infantry from getting shots in. They're doing quite a bit of damage, so just trying to slow them up a little bit. I almost lose one of my cav, but it holds together. As you can see, the light dragoons coming forward, and it does disrupt the Prussian line quite a bit. It gets them out of their shooting, and they're kind of sorting. Over here, things are pretty wild. I don't know what to take of this mess. It's a flat out mess over here. As you can see, these melee troops over here are extremely tired, as they make their slow journey to hit this last remaining Prussian line here. So they're going to sandwich that one and get it off. Now over on the far flank, it looks like Prussia's really held together fairly well. Doesn't look like they've done very much over here against Prussia, as Prussia owns these palm trees and still kind of sedentary here. Really, those Prussian lines could be used on either flank, and I think this is a much different story. Honestly, if they pour those troops in, I think Prussia is actually winning this flank, as this cav is going to do quite a bit of damage to these lingering Prussian units here as they rout one off, but there's still two remaining. Unfortunately, all the cav charging like this together, grouping them together, you're actually giving yourself damage. You're actually getting friendly kills there, because you'll run into the back of your own cav. You need to go one cav at a time and punch through, or charge at different units. So, pro tip there. All right. Here you can see I've really thinned out, but I'm holding the line. Prussia really is not in a position where they can attack because they have a lot of militia left, and my ally is really starting to sweep this flank over here. So over on our flank, it's going quite well. Over here, it looks like it's going kind of poor, as these guys are running in for another charge, but they're very tired, so they're not going to fare well in that. Over here, Sikh Musketeers and the Bagheer Infantry is continuing to get some shots in on the Prussians, while the Marathan Cav is trying to do some damage against all these light dragoons, but I think that's the fight the light dragoons are probably going to win, because all that melee cav stacked up on top of each other like that, it's not going to do a lot of damage versus those light dragoons unless you come in around. I mean, you got 3 cav to stick the 3 light dragoons, then take the other 2 around the flanks and hit them on the flanks. That's really, I think, would have been better for Maratha's cav, but I can't remember really who it was that was playing as Maratha on that side, but it's just a tip for how to use melee cav. Over here, like I said, I have taken quite a bit of damage, so I am trying to do the best I can to hold in, using the terrain as best as possible to reduce my damage. Now, I do have some good units still left in this fight. I've got some cav that I've swept over here, or I think I'm about to. Some Lancer cav, and that should help run down some of these Prussians and also cause another disruption as we look to destroy the rest of these remnants of this flank. Okay, so I see my cav in movement in the background there. Over here on this side, things are wrapping up pretty nice. It's really just the light dragoons of our opponent that's left. Alright, so here comes my cav that I was speaking about. We got 3 Lancers. I think 2 of them are Sipahis, and one of them is, or 2 of them are Bagheer, and one of them is a Sipahi, I think. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the rundown was. Over here, I'm gonna go ahead and try and apply some pressure to take some of the micro away from the back of my opponent here, so that he doesn't pay attention to the attack that comes behind. And over here, I'm able to reduce down my damage because of the terrain. So I'm taking a good fight here. As you can see, not a lot of the shots are connecting, but there's still some. There's still some. You can see some of my dead bodies over there where the Prussians are, as I used to hold that ground, but I was pushed back. Getting some nice shots in on the Prussians there. Taking a few of them down. Alright. Let's take a look here. This I just love this map. It's really, really a great map. Okay, here goes my cav charge in as my lines are pushing forward. The Prussian player was making a shift back and went ahead and got a charge in. I'm going to punch through and go for the light infantry of our opponent here, as he had full light infantry, so he brings his cav over. Very nice movement there by my opponent, bringing cav support. And here you can see I get a charge on the flank with my other cav. And now I'm going to pull my cav back and reel them in for another charge. As you can see, the player has now shifted all of his units over that was sitting on the center and has pushed our ally all the way to the corner. So it's going to be quite the ground to traverse to come over to assist them. But we are getting close to finishing up the fight on our side. We're almost there. I'm going to go ahead and commit my elephants. The elephants. As the Prussian has volleyed, and now it's just going to crush that line. Look at that. There's just one guy left there. So that unit's going to rout, and I'm going to go ahead and smash into the other. Problem is he's right next to that stake line, and that's kind of bad because I lose a few elephants on that stake line because they don't really have great control as far as where they go. Luckily, I'm able to push some of those militia over. And I'm going to try and come around the stake line, but two of the darn elephants, actually four of them, hit the stake line anyway. Yeah, it is what it is. At least I got several still, and I'm going to get into the light infantry, which are very low defense, so I'm going to smash them up pretty good. I'm going to rout one out, I believe, right there. Yep. Now, the general's bodyguard's going to get a nice charge in on my elephants in the back, basically. And that's going to put my general's bodyguard under pretty good duress. As you can see here, he's also using his light dragoon to hit me in the back. But over here, you can see all the overwhelming force that, since I was able to put that pressure, that really took a lot of the pressure off of my ally making that push. As you can see, he's going to break the Prussians back here. So in this one, I didn't really have the greatest fight on my side, but at least I did a fair decent amount of kills in here. As you can see, I rout off a couple more. So I'm doing okay, I guess. Definitely could have gone better. But I spread out quite a bit to take a lot of the damage for his push over there. As kind of did the other side as well. One side had the melee and one side had the musket firing units like me. And basically we took the damage so the melee could punch through and get the good kills in and win the day for us. As Maratha is going to take this fight. So Maratha gets the win, and Maratha goes on to have a winning record of 2-1, finishing off week 3 of the season. So we're going to be able to roll into week 4 coming up pretty soon. This is a nice battle. There's just a little bit of Prussians left over here. Actually quite nice full line infantry, but those elephants and calves should really do the trick, and our units are coming over. You see that Marathan's cav is really going to be superior here. This is the remnants of the Prussian player that was on the flank. His last Jaeger that's going to bite the dust right here by a Lancer charge. I think that Jaeger was very tired or exhausted, so he's going to bite the dust. And you can see here now it's just the center Prussian army that's left, the remnants of his army. as he tries to set up some sort of defense between the red line and the oasis here. And you can see we are now on our way over to the fight with a pretty sizable force, looking to kill off this general bodyguard over here. So we're on the way. So this one's going to be in the books here, guys. Really good fight. If you did enjoy this fight, don't forget to hit the like button and give this video a like. It does help push this video on the YouTubes. And also, if you subscribe, you will be notified of future content, especially if you click that bell. And you can keep track of all the battles that we are going to have in this tournament. This is going to be a quite long tournament as we make our way through all these matches. And I believe there is going to be 14 weeks of this tournament before we get to the final to see who has the best record in the season to go to the playoffs. 4 teams will make the playoffs of all the nations. Then they will whittle down, and then the top 2 will fight for the championship to see which nation is the best of this season. So this should spell the end for the Prussians here as they are surrounded. As you can see, elephants coming in to trample down the remnants of these Prussian squares. A really nice fight, actually. I think the kills were quite close in this. It was only maybe the difference of 150 kills between the 2 opposing forces. So, pretty tight affair. The Prussians and Marathans will face off again. Every nation will face their opponents twice. So they have a chance to play on their home turf and then at the opponent's home. So this one is on Maratha's home turf. So at least Prussia's not losing on their home ground, if there's any solace to take in it. But anyways, we'll see you on the next battle, guys. Thank you again for joining. We'll see you on the next one.